For millions of years, the dinosaurs had survived challenges that would have destroyed any other species. Volcanoes erupted, climates shifted, continents drifted apart. Yet nothing they had ever faced could compare to what was about to happen. It began far above Earth, in the silent darkness of space. A rock, unimaginably massive, hurtled toward the planet. It was moving faster than any bird, faster than the speed of sound, and in its path lay the greatest rulers the Earth had ever known. When the asteroid struck, the impact was beyond comprehension. The ground shuddered across continents. Oceans erupted. Firestorms raced across forests, consuming everything in their path. The sky turned bright as day for a moment, then darkened with dust, ash, and smoke. Dinosaurs did not understand. They could not. Some tried to flee. Others froze. No strategy, no instinct, no strength could prepare them for a force so sudden, so complete. The world they had known, the world they had dominated for millions of years, was disappearing in an instant. And yet, even in the chaos, the real devastation had only begun. The dust thrown into the atmosphere would block the sun for months, perhaps years. Temperatures would plummet, plants would wither and die, herbivores would starve, and predators would follow. The balance that had once protected life was gone. Here is the question that haunts every story of survival. How could creatures that had endured so much, ruled so long, and adapted so brilliantly be undone so quickly? The asteroid did not just kill, it rewrote the rules of life on Earth. It created a world no creature had ever seen. A world where size, strength, and dominance were meaningless. A world where survival was no longer guaranteed. And yet, in this darkness, a few hints of hope remained. Tiny mammals, small birds, and resilient insects would endure. But for the giants, the rulers of the land, the skies, and the seas, this day marked the end of their reign. As we look back, we are left with an unsettling thought. If such unstoppable creatures could fall so completely, what does it say about the fragility of life, even the life we consider strongest? The day everything changed was not just a day, it was a reminder. Nature does not negotiate. Nature does not warn, it simply acts, and the dinosaurs were powerless to stop it. The moment the asteroid struck, the world as the dinosaurs knew it ended. In the first minutes, the ground shook like it had never shaken before. Shockwaves raced across continents. Mountains crumbled. Oceans rose into giant, unstoppable walls of water. Forests, the very lungs of the earth, ignited in flames that spread faster than any dinosaur could run. Some of the largest creatures ever to walk the planet tried to flee, but the firestorm was faster. The sky burned bright and red. Birds and flying reptiles plunged to the ground, disoriented. Smoke choked the air. The ground, once solid beneath the feet of giants, became unstable, cracked, and deadly. But the real horror was only beginning. Within hours, the dust and debris thrown into the atmosphere started to block the sun. Darkness covered the land. Temperatures plummeted. The lush green forests that had supported life for millions of years began to die. Plants could no longer grow. Herbivores had nothing to eat. Predators, in turn, faced starvation. And yet, in these first terrifying hours, life fought to continue. Some creatures sought shelter in caves, burrows, or water. Some huddled together, instinct driving them to survive against odds that were impossible. But here is the question that lingers. If creatures that had survived volcanoes, climate shifts, and continental drifts could be undone in a single day, what does it say about the strength we rely on in our own world? The asteroid did not just kill, it shattered the very systems that life depended on. Every food chain, every migration route, every ecosystem was disrupted in ways the dinosaurs could not comprehend. The world had been turned upside down in hours. By the end of the first 24 hours, silence began to fall over the earth. The roar of giants, the calls of flying hunters, even the movements of small creatures slowed to almost nothing. Darkness and cold were the new rulers. And as we imagine that silence, the question becomes impossible to ignore. When life feels permanent, when the world seems secure, how quickly can it vanish? For the dinosaurs, the first day after impact was only the beginning. Their struggle had started, and already the outcome seemed inevitable. The world they had ruled for millions of years was slipping away. After the asteroid's strike, the sun itself seemed to vanish. Dust and ash filled the sky, blotting out light for weeks, perhaps months. The warmth of day was gone. The earth grew cold. A winter unlike any other settled across the continents. Forests that had flourished for millions of years froze in silence. Rivers slowed, and ice began to form where none had existed before. Herbivores, once the giants of the land, roamed aimlessly, searching for plants that no longer grew. Trees, shrubs, and ferns, the foundation of life, withered under the shadowed sky. Starvation spread silently, taking the strongest first and the weakest until balance became impossible. Predators, the rulers of fear, found nothing to hunt. The world had inverted. Strength and size, once advantages that allowed survival for millions of years, now became burdens. Large bodies burned through the little energy available, forcing even the fiercest hunters to weaken and die. And beneath the surface, the oceans were not safe. Sunlight no longer reached the waters, disrupting the tiny organisms that fed life from the bottom up. Entire marine ecosystems began to collapse quietly, imperceptibly, while the world above struggled to survive. Here is the question that chills the mind. If life can thrive for millions of of years and adapt to almost everything. How fragile is existence when the sun itself disappears? Some small creatures survived. Tiny mammals, early birds, and insects found shelter in burrows, under rocks, or in nests. They endured not because they were strong, but because they were small, adaptable, and patient. Survival had become a test of subtlety, not power. Meanwhile, the giants that once ruled the earth faced a harsh reality. Evolution had prepared them for countless challenges, but never for darkness that lasted longer than a season, or cold that froze the body and the world itself. It was a time when size was no longer strength and dominance was meaningless. And as the earth waited beneath a sunless sky, the question lingers for us today. If the mightiest creatures, perfected over millions of years, could fall when conditions change beyond their understanding, how secure is any life at all, when the environment shifts faster than adaptation can follow? The sun did not rise for the dinosaurs, and in that darkness, their world, their power, their reign began to fade forever. A planet that had thrived for millions of years now faced the harshest truth of all. No life, no matter how mighty, is guaranteed forever. The age of the dinosaurs ended in fire, darkness, and silence. Millions of years of dominance erased in the blink of an eye. Yet the earth itself kept a record, a warning written not in words, but in stone, in layers of rock, in fossils buried beneath the surface. These remnants tell a story louder than any roar, deeper than any footprint. They remind us that no matter how powerful, how numerous, how perfectly adapted a species may seem, survival is never guaranteed. Life is fragile, and even the strongest can be undone. Small mammals and birds that survived carried the future in their tiny bodies. From them, life would rise again, reshaping the planet in ways the dinosaurs could never have imagined. New species, new ecosystems, new rules emerged from the ashes of the old world. And here is the haunting question that history leaves for us. If creatures that ruled the earth for millions of years could vanish forever, what does that say about our own place in the world? How long can we assume our dominance, our control, or our comfort will last? The asteroid, the volcanoes, the collapsing ecosystems, they were not evil, not intentional. They were simply nature's forces acting without regard for who was strong, who was smart, or who believed the world would always remain the same. And that is the lesson carved into the earth itself. Strength is no safeguard. Size is no shield. Dominance is no guarantee. Survival favors those who can adapt, endure, and sometimes wait in the shadows. For the dinosaurs, it was too late. For life itself, it was a new beginning. And for us, the question remains: will we heed the warning written in stone, or will we, like the giants of the past, fail to see the forces moving quietly toward our own extinction? The earth remembers the dinosaurs not just for their power, their size, or their dominance, but for their absence. And in that absence, we are left to wonder, how long can life endure if it takes nothing for granted? The age of giants is over. The earth moves forward, and the story of survival continues, written in stone, waiting for those willing to read it. If the story of the dinosaurs has taught us anything, it's that life is fragile, and the world can change in ways we cannot imagine. If this journey into the past fascinated you, don't let it end here. Subscribe to join us as we uncover more stories of Earth's greatest mysteries, the creatures that ruled it, and the lessons they left behind. Like, comment, and share this video because the story of survival is one we can all learn from. And remember, the giants may be gone, but their story lives on. Will you be the one to carry it forward?